How we like to look at the topic of FiDA is in the broader context of the European data strategy. It is not an isolated piece of regulation. It is really part of a broader European data strategy that the European Commission is developing and also introducing and implementing in Europe. So here on the slide, you see a couple of regulatory initiatives that I think are relevant to consider when we talk about FiDA. Why? First, because they have similar objectives, because all these regulations are essentially about protecting the customer, ensuring their security and their privacy, driving competition, and driving innovation. That is the first reason. The second reason is that these regulations all put in place conditions or requirements for how access to data is supposed to take place, right? So that's why it's important to frame and see FiDA in the broader context of these regulatory initiatives. Unfortunately, we do not have time to go through all of them, but I think it's important to realize that it's part of a broader picture. But our focus for now is FiDA. What I'm sharing here is our interpretation of the scope. Having gone through the regulation multiple times and all the different versions of the Parliament, of the Commission and the Council, what you see here is our interpretation. So you see that it covers a broad spectrum of financial products, lending, including mortgages and credit cards, savings products, investment products. It is about property and casualty insurance. So health insurance is not part of the scope. It's really only about property and casualty insurance. And third pillar pension products, right? And the type of data that needs to be shared or needs to be made accessible, that is what you see in the gray boxes as well. It's a bit vague in the regulation as of yet, but we know that the data concerns transaction information, concerns balance information, but also product conditions, right? Think about interest rates, think about pricing information regarding products, and so on and so forth. What we also know is that some other data attributes are also in scope. They are in the box other data. Specifically for businesses, the regulation specifies that also KYC data should be made available, and that also the raw data for creditworthiness assessment should be made available, right? So it's not only specific product data that we are talking about, but it's also data related to the customer itself. What we also know, or what our interpretation is that it has a very broad coverage of the client segments. It covers retail clients, private individuals, SMEs, but also the larger corporate clients and institutional clients. There is still a lot of discussion about that, a lot of lobbying going on, whether those corporate clients and institutional clients should remain in scope. But if you read the regulation now, they are. Right. The last message of this slide is who has access to this type of data. Well, also this regulation introduces a new role, a new service provider, in the form of an FISP, Financial Information Service Provider. And of course, the key question there is, can big techs also become an FISP, right? As of yet, they are not excluded, so they are in scope or they are eligible to become an FISP, but most likely they will need to adhere to some additional and specific requirements regarding how they use that data, for example,